Hello, it's the Toaster Party, and today it's another episode of Burning Abyss versus, this time it's Altergeist Dogmatika featuring Dragoon. First off, we are sadly going first with a hand that's not too great going first. Our opponent's going to start off with a copy of Silcoitus, and then they get to send off the dragon whose name I don't know the actual name of right now, but I get to shuffle it back using the Fiend Griefing. I then get to go into a tour guide from the Underworld, summoning Rhino Warrior from deck, going into Dante, which then gets destroyed by a Solemn Warning. But Dante's effect still triggers, so I get to add cards back to my hand. I don't choose to summon anything from here because I want to still use the Gamma. They're going to use Altergeist Protocol, but then I'm going to negate the Silcoitus, who is trying to send back the card, so I don't want that happening. But then they pop off the cards on my field and go into Ecclesia. Ecclesia tries searching, but I Veiler it. I then go into the Maximus. I then send away the Maximus, but then they get in for 15. I still have two Farfas in hand, but my opponent now goes into Fleur-de-Lis, the other good one. Then I summon the copy of Tour Guide to get myself Scarm, to give me Dante, sending off the Scarm, getting a good mill of a Farfa, sending off the Fleur-de-Lis, but to make sure that it doesn't get any effects. I then go into Beatrice and then get in for a bit of damage. Sadly, the Fleur-de-Lis comes back, and it's really hard for me to get over that thing. I use Beatrice effect to send off Alec to try negating the thing, but I mess up timing here, so I just get Tag's card back to my hand. But I do get a copy of Purple Dante. I just need to find a way to remove the copy of the Fleur-de-Lis from the field. So I then get to trigger off Farfa, sending away the Ecclesia. And then I go into the other two going into Virgil, which does let me shuffle back in the Fleur-de-Lis. Now I've removed everything from their field, and now I can just go from game safely from here. Back with game 2, and our group's looking pretty good going second. We have the copy of Gamma. They go into Melisik. I want to negate that, but then they have Ash Blossom, which does negate the Gamma, sadly. They then go into the Disciples from Nadir, summoning out the Ecclesia, but they don't remember that Gamma is not a once per turn. They get the ability to summon Maximus from deck using the effect of Dragon from Nadir. I then Cosmic Cyclone away the copy of Personal Spoofing. Then they're going to try to bring back the copy with Marionette, but then they get Silcoitus out on the field, and I'm sitting in not so good a position. I then use Tour Guide to get out a copy of Seer, and then get over the Linkrevo, and then get over the Silcoitus, except I can't, which at least keeps them off of anything they can really do that's going to hurt me from here. They then go into the effect of Maximus to send off the two cards. I then use Dante's effect to shuffle back in the Virgil I removed. I then remove copy of Silcoitus, but then they are able to get in for a fair amount of damage. It's not hopeless from here, but I have the ability to go into Dante, which is pretty good. I choose to then mill off 3, getting some pretty decent mills. Choosing not to Farfa because I want to remove all of the threats on their side of the field, but sadly I do not have a monster that can attack over that copy of Marionette in my deck that I can summon. They draw into Fleur-de-Lis, which is great, not for them, not me, but I get to at least try taking it back by going into Farfa, milling it off, getting an additional Scar Mill to let me an additional search, but I'm going to want to have to go in for game while hopefully removing that copy of Fleur-de-Lis the next turn. They draw Marionette, which is not helping me at all. I try removing the copy of Fleur-de-Lis from their side of the field so that they can't attack over my field, but they get it back, and now I have to find a way to rip that card off of their side of the field. I then go into Phantom Knights of Breaksword, popping my copy of Dante and popping their copy of Fleur-de-Lis. They then get a copy of the Multi-Faker, which then lets them get a free search, giving them back to Silcoitus, which is not helping. I then try attacking over the Silcoitus, but then they bounce back the copy of Breaksword. I then attack over it with Beatrice, leaving my field as a pretty okay position. And then they draw Red Eyes Fusion, and that's all over. There is no clean out for Dragoon here, because I then I can't target it with the Dynamicious, and I just am trying to throw things on field, then they pop it, and then they just attack for game. Dragoon is a problem. Here we are with game 3, and now I know the one thing I really have to do is make sure Dragoon does not touch the field. I start off with Tour Guide from the Underworld, sending off Scar, making Dante. Setting up for some future plays. Special summoning back the Scar, because I misplayed a little there. Or well, it's just got an awkward mill. I immediately shotgun the Cosmic Cyclone to hopefully keep them off any traps in case they have a multi-faker in hand. I then misplay with my zones and put Beatrice in the wrong zone, which sends them all off to the graveyard. I then at least have a tour guide from the Arm Search, which then lets me go into Dante. They Judgment the Dante. I then go into all the effects in my graveyard, but hey, they do it in the wrong chain, so I can negate their multi-faker, and now they're down to just 3 cards, one of which is Dark Magician. And I also get to attack in for 25 using the power of Driver and Gamma, which are allowed to attack. And then I see that I have popped the Red MD fusion, which makes me feel pretty good. They then go into Melee Seek and then Disciples from Nadir, getting Ecclesia to their side of the field. They then get a copy of Fleur de Lis onto their side of the field, and they get to start attacking over everything. They get Melee Seek, which lets me add a copy of Seer back to my hand. They attack in for 3,000, but because they used Ecclesia, they cannot link off the copy of Melee Seek. And I just need to summon Fiendish Rhino Warrior and attack over it. And that's game 3.